going to turn the camera around so you can see.
Hello, everybody. We're the Wildflowers. Thanks for joining us.
This is number. Do you know what number this is?
79.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, you heard a voice on the camera, but you didn't see her. Now you see her.
There's Peggy.
Yes, I'm Carol.
And I'm Judy.
How's everybody doing? I feel like it's been quite some time.
It's not as long as the time before, but we,
Right.
you know, there was a beginning because you ladies were away.
Yes, yes. Peggy actually drove me upstate. When I say upstate, I'm not talking Westchester.
All the way.
Yeah, right near the Canadian border, about an hour or so from Montreal, because I went up for my class reunion. And I went up to bring advanced reader copies of my book to a couple of the bookstores up there, and I am scheduled for Bookberg Books on October 12th. I talked to the owner yesterday, and she's reading the book and she's loving it. She goes, "I've got so many questions."
Before she was in Finland.
My sister Bridget is reading Without Grace.
Oh, really?
Oh, good.
Awesome. Yeah, so there's that. And so what have you been up to?
Oh gosh, you caught me off guard. Actually, no, I nothing much. Just working like usual, and you know, taking the kids.
Funny, because when Peggy and I were almost at my sister's, we got a text from somebody saying the verdicts can come in.
I wonder who that person was.
It was pretty much. They said it's going to be in the next 20 to 30 minutes.
Right. So
were you driving when I texted you?
So
that's what I figured. So I wanted you to turn your radio.
We were trying to find it on the radio, and then I texted my sister. I said, "Have the TV on when we get there." We were so thrilled to hear back to back to back to back to back 34 guilties.
Yeah, we were lucky that we got there in time.
I was wondering where you were on the road. I said,
we were pretty close. We were about 10 minutes away, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So.
And then it was.
I mean, I don't know what it's going to change, but it's at least the justice.
At least he didn't get away with it. He may not ever serve time in jail.
Teflon Don is.
He's a convict.
Yeah, he's a convict, absolutely. So
well, you know, it's interesting is about the criminal justice system, you know, and I said, I think it's, I hope people pay attention, you know, to the system, and, you know, it brings more people to understand the process of it, right? And, you know, not just what you see on TV, like those Law and Order shows, you know, and all of that, you know, but that there is a process. There's a grand jury, you know, what brings indictments. I sat on a grand jury once, so I got to see, you know, behind the scenes, what that involves, and then only if the grand jury indicts, feels that there's enough evidence for the prosecutor to go ahead, then they convene a jury, and then their burden of proof gets even narrower, right? You have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. And you know, the things that maybe
some people don't understand, both sides pick the jury.
Exactly.
So,
absolutely.
You know, like he kept on saying it was rigged. Everybody in the jury hated him. There was a guy who was
a MAGA.
Yeah, he was on Truth Social, and you know, and those people. I think that the people most of the people, they dismiss so many because they did say, "I can't be fair, I can't be fair."
Right. They would have to dismiss.
And no matter where this was in the country, everybody knows who Donald Trump is and what he allegedly did. But now he's convicted of it, so it's
as you know, I'm not going to express personal opinions here. I can't do that, you know, especially during a political. But I did want to focus on my commentary, like what you said. I think is a great point, Peggy, about both sides get to picture. That's called voir dire. And
what's it called?
Voir dire. VOIRDIRE, I think. I have to double check. Anyway, and so both sides get to pick who they want, and you get certain amount of like kind of vetoes, you know, where you could say, all right,
they can reject
the prosecution wants this person, they see them, and then they're like, okay, no, the defendant says no, I'm using one of my like vetoes, you know, essentially to get them out, and so they get the same amount.
Yeah, I think they get 10 each, at least in New York. I don't know if it's different in every state.
I have to double check that, but you might be right. But I do know too, having been on this process, to sit for juries, you have to fill out questionnaires ahead of time, and so they get the lawyers look at those and they know who's
Right.
everybody who they're looking at this questionnaire. Then these are questions that both sides pick. So it's not a standard question. They get to pick the questions and agree on the questions to ask. And then they could also see, well, okay, if I cancel this person, who's my next one? They could look ahead and strategize.
Oh, okay.
You know,
All right.
so it's a very strategic process,
Okay.
very fair process. And I think, you know, if anybody was paying attention, I think it's a win for justice to have such a high profile event, to see how things go and how it works when it's used.
Right.
So then right after he was convicted, of course, Congress had to form a committee and grill Merrick Garland.
Right.
You know, because, you know, they want everyone to believe that Joe Biden did this. First of all, it was a state case. It had nothing to do with the federal government. And that isn't who Joe Biden is anyway.
No.
And,
No.
you know what? Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. And he did a lot of crimes.
Yeah, he did a real lot of
And
crimes.
he gets away with too many things, so.
Well, you know, the last time we had a podcast, I had a banter topic, and I never got to it. And it's like, it's about balloon bans. And I don't know if you realize that they're starting to ban the balloons.
From being released?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they've been doing that for a long
Yeah,
time.
I mean, they should be, because
They should be,
Yeah.
but several states now have passed legislation to ban or limit the activity. And I thought, good. You know, the states are California, Connecticut, Florida, and Tennessee were the first to do so. So within the past few years, Maine, Maryland, and Virginia have followed suit. So I hope New York's eventually
How
follows
would
suit.
they enforce that?
I don't know. That's a
Once
good
the
question.
balloons go, like,
I guess then if you get caught, then you could be fined or
Right.
I don't know how they would
But
enforce
yeah.
it. But, you know, if they let people know the reasons why,
Right.
I think people with a conscience will say, oh, that's really screwed up.
Yeah.
Like it really does. It hurts a lot of birds. And if they end up in the
Wildlife,
ocean,
yeah.
it, you know,
I don't know.
hurts
You're
fish.
so much more optimistic than I do. I think people, you know, do think like the same reason why these are people who release doves at weddings.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's very cruel, and most of
Yeah.
them will die because
Yeah.
they're not trained
Yeah.
to be in the wild.
Yeah.
And then I
Yeah.
found out too that if you throw rice,
Rice as well.
Oh,
It's
that's
that-
years
yeah,
ago. That's
yeah.
why
Yeah.
they started doing confetti.
well,
Yeah.
like I
Because-
told you, they did popcorn at mine. So
Popcorn's much better than rice. The rice, they said it implodes.
Floats,
You know,
right.
it floats.
Yeah,
Well,
floats.
I have an,
Yeah.
an interesting topic. If
Yes,
you don't mind. Just
of
I
course.
saw something on the feed yesterday. I go, oh, this would be fun to know. And I don't know where it's originated from, but there was, I think, something going around on either Instagram or TikTok. A woman posted a video about and sparking a debate about whether or not a person who do you return your shopping cart to
we've talked about this.
have we? Oh,
you and I have talked.
did
No,
we?
not on the podcast.
Oh, okay.
No.
And so it's like some people are saying it's a litmus test to your character. Like,
I
do
always
you
return it.
or not? And this one woman, you know, young, able-bodied woman was like, no, I don't do it. You know, I don't. It's I'm not leaving my child alone in the car for me to go return this cart. You know,
Right.
and so
That's legit.
Yeah,
That's a legitimate excuse. I wouldn't either, but you can take your kid with you.
that's I mean, I had twins.
Keep
and
the
I
kid in the
always-
cart, empty it in,
Empty
and then
it.
wheel it back.
And we'll like, or I said, you know, kids pay attention to
Yeah.
behavior,
Mhm.
and then what are
Right,
you
right.
teaching your kid
But I
if you
did
don't
get-
bring it back?
I brought,
How do they know?
when I was bringing my bag one time, I got yelled at by the guy. He goes, "What are you trying to take my job away?" I'm not kidding.
Well, he was a grumpy old man.
Yeah, I was a kid.
Grumpy kid.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you
Yeah.
should take your cart back. I really do,
Yeah.
and you show your kids how to do it,
Yeah.
and then
Right.
put the kid in the car.
If I park in a spot where next to me there's like 3 shopping carts in that spot, sometimes I'll say, yeah, they have to come out and collect these anyway, so
Yeah.
let them collect
She's
mine.
being honest.
But I would say
Right.
99% of the time that
Yeah.
doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And if that isn't the case, I always return it. Even if it's raining and I say, why isn't somebody out here doing this for me?
I remember years and years and years ago when I was like in my early 20s, a woman, hunchback, rain, and she was rolling, brought her car all the way back. I was driving, or else I would have stopped, but I was like leaving the parking lot, and I see her, and she's bringing it all the way back, and I go, you know what? I will always bring my car back. If that lady
That's
can do
awesome.
it, then I can do
Yeah.
it. You know.
No, people should do it because those carts roll and they can bang up
They
your
bang up
car
your
and then
car.
you get mad. Oh,
Yeah.
look at this cart hit my car. Well, you know.
Is
So,
anyone out there
but-
feeling guilty?
well,
I do have a word, and I think the two of you
forget
probably.
about
No,
it.
I
Then
think
I'll do my word
No, I
next
want no.
podcast.
No,
I don't have a word, so save it for next time.
I'll save it for next.
No, the only reason I have this word is because I bet you and Judy know it, and I'm like, I never heard that before.
Okay, what word?
The word is a Johnny jump up.
No, I've never heard
I've
that.
heard of a Johnny pump is a fire hydrant
Oh, see,
in Brooklyn.
Is that what it is?
It's a plant. It's
Oh,
it's
no,
a
I
flower.
didn't know that.
A Johnny jump
A
up?
Johnny jump
Is
up.
there another name for it?
It's like a purple flower. I looked it up. It's just some kind of purple flower. I'm going, oh, I bet you Judy and Peggy know this.
No,
and that's
I
the
never
only
heard of that one.
Oh, well, I feel
I wonder
better.
if
Sometimes
in our
there's
region. I'm
all
gonna look it
different
Okay.
names for a flower. You know,
right.
besides the Latin name, there's always a Latin name.
Well, it should
And
be
then
like a
regionally.
tulip.
I'm trying to think where I even read it now. I should have wrote down. But yeah, no, that's all
Yeah.
I had to say. So if you got a word, I want to hear your word.
Oh,
Oh.
she's looking it up.
They're violas.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Johnny jump up.
Yeah, they're I have these,
Yeah, I
but
have
I've
them
never
too.
called them Johnny Jump.
No,
I call them violas.
I've never heard them
Isn't
called
that
that.
funny?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I bet you I'm the only one
Yeah.
that never heard
Yeah,
this.
that's so
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, viola tricolor.
Yeah, they're
That's
beautiful.
I have them. Yeah, and they're,
Yeah.
they're very
Yeah.
hardy too.
So what's your word?
My word is Dumbledore.
Oh,
Like from Harry Potter.
Dumbledore, yeah.
That's a
well, you're smiling. There's a little grin on your face.
Because I didn't know it was a real word.
I didn't know
Oh.
either. Okay. Dumbledore.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like a goof or somebody.
This
like
is
that.
now. It's got
Yeah.
to. Does it fit with the character in Harry Potter? It's got to. It's got to fit.
Yeah, it does. It actually J.K. Rowling explained why she picked that name.
A wise elder.
No, but a Dumbledore is an old English word meaning bumblebee.
Oh.
And J.K. Rowling chose the name because of Dumbledore's love of music. So she always imagined him walking around and humming to himself all the time. So, and I said, Dumbledore loved music. I don't remember that coming
No, I
out.
wish they would have put that in the movie.
It might have been in the books, but I read the books so long
yeah.
ago.
Right.
So, but anyway, yeah, Dumbledore is
That's a good one.
it's a bumblebee.
And wait, and how did you? Come?
It was the word of the day today.
Today.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
There we are.
Huh?
That's a good one. And
Yeah.
and now violas, I know are Johnny Jump
Johnny
Up.
Jump Up.
Yes.
Okay.
I swear. Okay. Well, who does the wine?
I do the wine today.
And I don't know if it's wine. I guess. Oh,
Oh, it is.
Okay.
This is, it's called Pacific Redwood. It's an organic Pinot from Mendocino. It's a 2022. And you know I like organic wines.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
So I usually drink Banter. And so I'll have to trust you
pretty
ladies
color.
because I'm
It's
I'm
ruby.
still not
Okay.
drinking alcohol.
Okay. Can you explain to our? Because it's funny. Because when I was at my reunion, we have people on my class that watch our podcast, which I didn't.
Are you
realize.
kidding me?
No, which I didn't realize. And they want to make sure that you're okay. Because why are you?
I know, and that's why I
So-
figured. Well, I'm not an alcoholic.
No.
Definitely not.
No.
And it's just I wanted a challenge. I feel like I was getting into, you know, like a habit of it. Not like when I say habit, I drink I had a glass, you
Right,
know,
right,
with my
right.
book. You
And it
know,
was more about you wanting to lose weight than anything else.
to be honest, that was a really big thing. I really was hoping to lose some weight, and I said, you know what? Everything else is not working. Let me try if this does it. And it was my birthday, and I said, this might be a good time to start a gift to myself and to see. And it's then when I learned a little bit more about an article popped up
Well, you
about
shared a
things
lot.
you could
Yes.
benefit from not
Yeah.
alcohol. I said, you know what? This might be good to see how it's going. And I'm going somewhere to a beach environment in the summer, and I want to look nice in my bathing suit.
Well, and you're doing okay? You've been sticking.
I don't miss it at all. I mean, I do enjoy drinking wine, but I don't miss it.
Right,
in
well, that's
any way.
good.
Yeah, so,
And what about Niall?
Oh, and Niall, my husband, he
Yeah.
said, I want to do this too. And I
It
said,
smells very
great.
fruity.
It does.
It was at Stu Leonard's, and I
Oh.
took your advice. I took a picture of the card, so
Okay, all
so
right.
I can
Are
give
we,
you a
are we
description.
sipping? So I guess Peggy and
Yes,
I sip.
go ahead. You
I
sip
guess-
and let me know. It does smell fruity. Let me find my pictures. So, oh, that's not it.
It doesn't.
This is it.
How are our legs? I can't.
It does, but they're almost invisible. See?
It's a very
Okay,
light
that was
color.
just
They're
me.
hard to see.
It's a
but I
very
can
pretty
see yours
color, though.
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got nice legs.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got a very pretty color.
It's very
It
light.
is. It's very pretty.
It's almost clear.
Well, Pinot Noirs are nice.
Yeah.
I like to, when I was drinking wine, I would say I would do it in the summertime. It's a nice Pinot.
I like it. I'm surprised. I didn't think I was going to like it.
Do you like Pinots?
Yeah, I love
Okay.
Pinot Noir. Mm-hmm.
What kind of fruits do you taste? Because I know what's in here, so I don't want to guess.
Right, right. And it's harder, I'm sure, when you can't taste it to guess.
No, but I'm
Cherry?
trying to
Oh,
develop my sense of smell.
Oh,
Let's
so
see.
it's cherries?
I always say cherry, and it actually is the color of cherry.
No, it doesn't
But-
have. Well, it doesn't say cherries in here.
Oh,
Does it say
berries? Any kind of berry?
It does have a berry.
Blackberry?
I think it has grapes.
Yes, you're right.
You always get these right, Peggy.
Okay, do you want to know the berry, which I think is interesting?
Boysenberry.
No.
Raspberry.
No.
Not
Strawberry.
blackberry.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
strawberry.
okay.
Yes, it was just a
Ah.
pure guess.
And do you like it?
Mm-hmm.
Because it has something
I don't know
here
if Peggy does.
I
Peggy's
didn't
not
think you
researching.
No, I do like it. But what I'm thinking about is I was just reading about wines that were de-alcoholized. And they said, I was watching
Is there any
a
alcohol?
YouTube today.
Okay.
And the sommelier said she was trying this one particular brand, which I'll talk about during my, I have the wine the next time, called Hand and Heart, and she tasted 2 Cabernets. And she said the only difference between them, they both had the aroma, they both had the taste. She said they had the tannins, they had the
Right.
body. You don't feel that burn from the alcohol.
Oh.
She said that was the only difference. So I'm sure it has to do with different brands.
But doesn't
And this doesn't have a lot of burn to it. And all the way down in your throat.
Does this have alcohol in it?
isn't the leg supposed to tell you something about the alcohol
That's
content?
the tannins and the acidity.
Oh, okay.
So, but this is very smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Very-
this,
like
this
hardly
has
any
alcohol in
finish.
it.
Oh, this doesn't.
Hardly
This
any
ha-
finish,
This has
though.
12.9%
Oh,
alcohol.
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
It's very good.
I wouldn't do that too, but I could see why you'd
Yeah.
be
Oh
suspicious.
no, you
I
could
would.
have.
I
No,
would.
you
Yeah.
could have absolutely done it. I
But-
kind of expected it.
Oh, did oh, okay.
Yeah,
no,
I
not
did.
that this also has mint in it, which I was worried
Oh.
because I know
Oh.
you don't like mint.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
not prominent.
So
at
this
all.
is
Yeah.
the description that they had on the card. It's a delicate and subtle with hints of strawberries and mint, all from organically grown grapes, processed with no added sulfites
good.
or other synthetic preservatives.
Oh, wow.
What is the name of the wine? I don't
Pacific Redwood.
think. Okay. Oh, it's a beautiful label.
I know the label got
Yeah.
me too.
Yeah.
That's really
It's
nice.
very nice.
So go. I'll
Right,
add
how
that
many
to my list.
wildflowers?
Yeah.
No, can you give it wildflowers?
I would
No, I don't
say this one, I would give it like 4.25.
Okay.
I like it.
I'm going to
It's
go.
good. It's a nice, refreshing, like summer
For the
red
summer,
wine.
it smells
Yes.
like it, and
Yes.
it looks like it would be a good
Yes.
summer
I
wine.
am going to piggyback on yours.
Oh, okay.
How much
Yeah.
would you pay for this?
Oh.
I would pay for this Pinot. Where is it from? Is
I
it
got
Oregon?
it from Stu Letters.
I mean, is it-
Mendocino.
Oh, okay, that Mendocino is Argentina. No? Argentina? No, that's
No,
Mendoza.
oh sorry, Redwood Valley,
Redwood, it has
California.
gotta be
Sorry,
California.
yeah, Redwood.
Right, I would think so.
It's a California one.
Well, look
Pinot,
at
the
that.
Oregon ones are very
Yeah.
expensive. But the California ones, I would say this was $14.99.
So funny, I was going to say $13.95.
$21.99.
Oh,
Or
okay.
$21.97 because Stu
Oh,
Letters
wow.
does that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, they do that with
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Total Wine does that too.
Yeah, if it ends in a 7,
It
it's not
is.
part of the discount thing. That's
Oh,
how
is that
they,
why they
yes,
do it?
that's
Oh.
why they do it.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was the discount. Oh, it's been ages since
Maybe. It's one way or the
Yeah,
other.
it's
I don't
one
care. I buy
way.
what I like. So-
Exactly, exactly.
So it doesn't matter the 10%.
Well, thank you, Judy.
Well,
Yes,
there
very
you go.
good.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
Well,
it was
cheers
good.
anyway. We
Cheers. Cheers to you. I'll sniff.
You're
But no,
supposed to do
thank
the
you for
bowl,
your
you know.
concern,
I read
everybody.
about
But
that,
I'm
too.
good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they said this is how you toast with the bowl.
With the bowl?
Yeah, the bowl part.
Oh.
We learn something every time.
Oh,
Listen
it
to
sounds
that
like a
nice
bell.
gong.
I
Yeah.
know.
That sounds like a
Ah,
bell.
and you're supposed to sip though after you turn.
Not me.
Oh yeah. It's never gonna be jinx because she can't.
You
sip.
could sip and spit.
No. Although we did have the other night Amstel beer, and I don't really, not Amstel, I'm sorry, Stella Artois.
Uh-huh. I like Stella.
And they have 0.0% alcohol. And so my husband had bought a case, and he was, not a case, like a 6-pack.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, yeah, I'll try it. Tasted delicious.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I told you, I bought that
Absolutely, yeah.
alcohol-free Prosecco for,
I'm gonna keep
was
an eye for that.
Easter. And, you know, my daughter's mother-in-law can't drink because she doesn't feel well when she drinks.
Right.
She's like allergic to alcohol or something. And she really loved it. Then Jessica had it. Everybody said it was really very good.
I think they're making big strides with, with this.
Well,
so
I just ordered
might be a
2
way.
bottles from that company so that we could taste them. I
you
ordered a
did?
Cabernet.
Oh, you're so nice.
I ordered a Cabernet and 2 Rosés because they're sold out of the Chardonnay. I wanted to try the Chardonnay.
Oh,
So,
well, thank you.
so we'll see when they come, and next time
I'm
we'll
going to order
taste one.
some because I do a big 4th of July party, so I'm
Yeah.
going to order
Cool.
some stuff for 4th of
Yeah,
July.
you want to be able to have
that
a glass
I can enjoy
of wine.
the taste.
And I
like the
go
taste.
on Wine Folly, that I get their newsletter, and they had the video about she tasted these non-alcoholic wines.
I'm
And
telling
great.
you, if they make them the way that they are now,
Yep.
like where the beer is tasting like beer,
Yeah.
if wine
Yeah.
tastes like, I mean, really, then I
Yeah.
feel like I'm not missing out on anything.
Well, then
Yeah.
that's good.
Right.
And
That's,
hopefully I lose a little weight.
yeah.
Hey, I'm fitting in my cute little dress today. So.
Yeah, that's very nice.
very nice dress.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So anyway, now we're doing the subject.
No, book.
The book.
Oh, the book.
She's just going right over you.
I'm sorry. I know all about that book. I don't need to know.
I don't. So
No.
go ahead.
Well, it's called The Book of Mothers, and it's How Literature Can Help Us Reinvent Modern Motherhood by Carrie Mullins.
Oh, very
And I
nice.
got to interview Carrie for an event, and as well as I interviewed her for Long Island Woman magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so glad that I said I wanted to interview her because I love this book. It's a
Nice.
it's a nonfiction, and I never ever really gave a whole lot of thought about fictional mothers in literature. I just took them for what
I think
was there.
that's Disney. They kill them all off.
Oh.
Before.
Well, she uses several different stories. Little Women. Let me see. It's been a while now, so it's because I'm reading.
That's
it.
actually a good topic.
It's so interesting. So she wrote. She talked about the joys of fiction and when she was younger, and how this was a topic that she started paying attention to, like how mothers are presented. Because when she became a mother, she was like, oh, people have certain, expectations of you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and apparently in Little Women, the movie, Greta Gerwig had the mother say something very like, not nasty, but like she was like exhausted about being a mother. And there was critiques about that from the movie, but it's in the book. And like, so she's supposed to be elevated, this perfect woman.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, and
Like
she,
motherhood isn't supposed to exhaust you.
exactly.
That's your role.
Right,
So.
it's your role, and you're supposed to be a certain way. And she talks a lot about Madame Bovary, and Madame Bovary, how she was very selfish, and she was the way she was written, like you weren't supposed to like her. But the more you got into reading the book about her, you're like, okay, so she's a woman. She, she likes to buy things. She likes to look pretty. She did talk about the Real Housewives, and I didn't agree with her take on the Real Housewives, because Roxanne Gay said that she was glad to see that real women are being presented on the Real Housewives, and I said,
they're
I
not
don't
real
care.
women.
I don't consider that.
Who's Roxanne Gay?
Oh, she's a very prominent writer. She has, I can't even think of any of her books, but
Okay.
she writes op-ed pieces in the
Okay.
Times and stuff. But I didn't agree with that because I feel like it's a scripted show to
Yeah.
begin with, and they're trying to get the ratings. So I was like, I don't agree with that one. And then she writes about the stepmom in Anne of Green Gables. And that I found very interesting because how what was her name, the mother?
Starts with an M.
Yeah, and I should have it written down, and I can't remember her name.
It's an interesting name.
Yeah, and she talks. No, that's Marmee. Yeah, I don't know if I have it, but she talks about being an adoptive mother, and of course, as being a
Yes.
mother with adopted children, she talked about how, she was such a lovely person, and she stuck up for Anne. Like at first, it was an issue with Anne,
Yes, it
obviously,
was.
but
Yeah.
then she stuck up for Anne with the neighbor, because the neighbor was like, oh, you don't know what you're going to get with this child, and the whole bit. So that was very interesting. She talks about Virginia Woolf, and she talks about the funny one that she was talking about, The Great Gatsby, and I was surprised that she was saying how the woman in that one was, we look at her as, again, being very selfish or
Bertha
whatever.
Willis was her name, the mother.
Bertha. Oh,
No,
I
it
don't-
wasn't.
Yeah.
Mother is who has passed. Oh no, that's the
Oh, that's the real one, not the stepmother.
yeah.
Since who lived
oh, wait,
Marilla,
Marilla. Yeah.
and Matthew Cuthbert.
Right.
Right.
So she
Matthew,
talks
I
about
loved him.
the mother of the Joy Luck Club and
I
how.
love that.
Yes, I love that.
Which
show.
mother?
The
Because there were so many of
Yeah,
them.
yeah, well,
the
she
one
did-
who died, who was the
Well,
the one
her
who-
mother, the narrator's
The
mother, I
narrator's
guess,
mother?
because
Yeah,
the rest
right.
of them were her aunts.
Her aunties, yeah. But
right.
but they told her story through the books.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing is that I was so interested because, and I even told this when I was interviewing Carrie, is that when I first started writing my novels, and without Grace, the mother was there. Grace was the mother in the story, and she was serving no purpose. Like, she has no personality. Why is she even here? I don't even know what I'm doing with her. And it wasn't until I had her walk out on her family did she become powerful. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then when I wrote Of Little Faith, that mother, she was dead. But she was still powerful because how she had raised her kids was stuck. They were, took how she raised them, that she was abusive. And so she was very much alive to them, even though she was dead. But it wasn't until I started the book that I'm writing now that the mother is so prominent, and I want her to win.
That is true. Yeah.
So I'm like, I never really thought about that.
You finally came around in the mother department.
I
It's
did.
like,
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, I think that when we're reading books about mother, and I asked her, I'm like, what about fathers? Like, is there going to be a book of fathers? And she says, I don't know. I'm not sure about that, because they're like, we cut them so much slack, the men in the books. We cut
Yeah.
them so much slack.
Because they are uninvolved and they're not supposed to be.
Right.
The expectation is that it's not your job.
Yeah,
Does
exactly.
she
You know.
go into why she thinks the mothers have been portrayed like this, or does
It's
she come
just,
up-
it's our expectations. It's basically
Yeah.
what we're expecting.
At that time, I guess that the
Yeah.
literature was written.
Right, and that's
She
what
should do one about stepmothers.
Well, she
Bec-
did say that she was, looked at past history. She didn't, I think, was it you that asked her the question at the event?
I
Because
did ask her a question, but I don't remember what it was.
Because I feel like she said she was focusing on older books.
Yeah.
Like she wasn't looking at the newer books. She did do Harry Potter, but I didn't read Harry
Oh,
she do-
I asked her about the School for Good Mothers.
Oh, right, yes.
That book by
That
Jessamine Chan.
yeah,
What a good book.
yeah. That.
If you never read that,
No,
you
I
should
haven't
read that
read it
book.
yet.
It's
Did we
such a
talk
good.
about it on the
You
podcast?
did.
Did we?
Yeah.
Because I know I read it and I
Right.
loved
Can I
it,
look
so
at
I'm
this?
sure
You can
I
take it.
Did
reviewed
she
it.
talk
Sure.
about Jane Austen at all?
Yes,
She did.
yes.
That's what I was curious, because as you were saying it, I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
bet you she has a lot to
Take
say
it.
about Jane Austen.
It's yours. You can
Yeah.
have it.
You know, it's funny you say, because I was going to do a topic, not a topic, a banter about something I read which ties into this. Something was floating around today on the internet, and now I don't know if it was real or not, but it caught my attention about an excerpt from a kind of like a health education textbook that they gave to women in the 50s. And it was like it's like when you talk
Yeah.
about culture, it was like, okay, when you prepare yourself for bed, you need to, don't put on any cream or curlers until after your husband has fallen asleep.
Oh, I know. And when he comes home from work.
Oh, and all that. But it was
dinner
all went into
ready.
detail about the bed, and then, you all things, and don't.
And even when he walks in the door, you're supposed to greet him with a smile and have your makeup on and hand him a cocktail and dinner is ready.
That's why books like this.
Exactly.
That's the culture from these books. All going all the way up until 50.
Yeah.
And it was just really interesting reading this. I said, this is what we were teaching our women and girls in high school, 50s and 60s,
Even like, I'm thinking of the words of, hey, little girl.
Oh, God, I hate that song.
And it's all about put your makeup. And
it's and wives should always be lovers too. It's like so misogynistic.
It's still that way. I mean, my biggest pet peeve with the schools here is whenever they have these events, even like field days, they hate the song Barbie Girl.
Oh, yeah.
And they play this song Barbie Girl at these elementary school field days. I wanted to go up there and just rip the cord right out of it. I'm like, come on, Barbie, let's go. Let me undress you everywhere. I'm like, these are what you're playing this at a elementary school function.
Yeah. It's about changing her appearance, right?
It's about letting the girl do the guy do whatever he wants to a girl because just look pretty, you're Barbie, and let's party,
There's
and I'll do
another Barbie
anything
deep
I
inside,
want.
and I guess that's the Barbie that's supposed to be.
Oh no, we're talking about a different Barbie. So we're talking about the old Barbie song.
Yeah. Hey there, Barbie girl.
There's one after that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you gotta. It's disgusting. I hate it.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
So
no, take it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So so the book is the Book of Mothers. I strongly encourage
like the cover too. The color's nice.
Real quick, I'll just tell you briefly what it's about, just so that because I feel like I didn't give a good enough description. And this is from the publisher. Sweet, supportive, dependable, selfless. Long before she had children of her own, Carrie Mullins knew how mothers should behave. But how? Where did these expectations come from? And more importantly, are they serving the mothers whose lives they shape? Carrie's suspicion, later crystallized while raising 2 small children, was that our culture's idealization of motherhood was not only painfully limiting, but harmful, leaving women to cope with impossible standards. Standards rarely created by mothers themselves. So that's what inspired her to write it, and I really, as I was reading it, I was like, I really like this book.
Pride and Prejudice was right at the first one.
Say it again?
The Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah.
I knew it. When you were talking, I go, that would be.
I know. I don't know why I didn't bring that up because I know you.
We should do a discussion about the expectations of mothers through the ages. Like,
that'd be a great.
Because now I'm remembering a commercial when I was a kid, Susie Homemaker.
Oh my
Remember
gosh,
that?
yes.
They had the Susie Homemaker oven, and it was like, this is who you should be. You're a homemaker, nothing else.
Yep.
60s.
My niece, when she was young, she asked for a toolbox for a gift, and thankfully she got one. Her parents got her a toolbox. So I'm like, good. I think that's how it should be, And if your son wants a doll, let him have a doll.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so that's the Book of Mothers.
Good.
And
good review.
so it's been a while, and the book I'm reading now is I'm so into it. I can't wait to keep getting back to it. So anyway, the topic is yours.
The topic is presidential debates.
Oh boy.
Yeah, well, we have one coming up.
You sound
June
like
27th.
You sound like the movie phone guy.
The password is. It was like the password. I said the topic is like password.
Well, I heard movie phone guy, but that's okay.
I don't know what movie phone is.
Yeah, the movie phone guy.
Yeah. And this,
coming soon.
Yeah, it was on the
Okay. Never mind.
Okay.
I don't know. But anyway, presidential debates. It's a short history.
What do you mean?
Why do you think it is a short history of presidential debates?
Because, all right, I'm going to guess because only still with TV did they start showing them debate because you didn't have, could have an audience for them prior to that.
Well, Judy?
A short history?
It's a short history.
Because you're just focused on this last ones? You don't care about the last ones?
No, it's not my short history. The history of presidential debates is a short history
Oh, okay.
because presidential candidates did not debate until 1960.
And that's because of television.
And no, it wasn't because of
No.
television. No,
Because
it
it
was
could've done it
because
by
they
radio.
thought it was unseemly to campaign and let alone debate each other. Like they just didn't do it. Now there were debates like the Lincoln-Douglas debate, which is very famous. That wasn't presidential. That was for a Senate seat. There were other debates, but not like the candidates from each party for president.
So they would debate for senators and but not
Yeah,
for
some
president?
people did, not a lot.
Oh, interesting.
But
Okay.
you know, it just
didn't know
like
that.
like you didn't want to go around campaigning because it was unseemly.
That's so
So I don't
interesting.
know how people found out about these candidates.
Yeah.
So how did you find out? Unless it was newspaper reporting
Newspapers.
and
That's probably
you know,
what
yeah,
it
it was
is.
probably
and that's so
newspapers.
limited for people that live in rural,
Rural
areas.
areas.
Exactly.
Radio, perhaps. Radio.
Yeah.
Even so, still
Yeah, but
rural,
even-
no
yeah.
electricity,
Yeah, yeah. So, well, anyway, in 1956, this student in the University of Maryland, his name was Fred Kahn, and he led
How do you spell his last name?
K-A-H-N.
Oh, okay, so not C-O-N.
No, not C-O-N.
I was like
Fred
a little
Kahn.
concerned.
He led the effort to bring Adlai Stevenson and Dwight D. Eisenhower to the campus for a debate. So, and this would have been like the first time.
Wow.
So anyway, he contacted all these newspapers to get interest in it, and he sent out letters to a whole bunch of people, and one of those persons was Eleanor Roosevelt.
Oh.
And she said, oh, this is a great idea. It'd be great for the students on the campus and all the other students. So she sent the letter to the campaign manager of Adlai Stevenson. But it never really happens.
Oh.
So, in the
Well,
end,
yeah,
no
what
debate
a
took
letdown.
place. But his effort to do this,
Snowballed.
it received national press exposure that laid the groundwork for the first presidential debate. Do you know what the first one was?
Kennedy and Nixon?
No, Kennedy. Yes, Kennedy and Nixon. I'm sorry. Yes, in 1960.
yeah.
I know. I had a brain fart.
Yeah.
Kennedy and Nixon in
Yeah.
1960.
Yeah.
It was in Chicago at CBS's studio, and it was moderated by Howard K. Smith. Because of Nixon's appearance,
Yes,
his
sweating.
weight, he was sweating, his weight loss, he had very pale complexion, and he refused to wear makeup for the TV. He refused.
Then you were next to John F. Kennedy.
Right,
you
right.
know.
Yes. He was considered, at the outset, he was considered to have the upper hand.
Right.
But he lost that debate,
Wow.
being up against John Kennedy, who was so charismatic,
Yes.
intelligent, he was handsome, he wore the makeup.
And he knew how to play the camera. He knew how
Yep,
to.
yeah, he did, he did.
Yeah.
So they had that first debate, and then they had 3 more debates were held between them. And Nixon did win the second and third debates because he decided
He
to
learned.
wear the makeup. He gained weight. Also, in the first debate, his suit blended in with the background, so it made him kind of like invisible. So I guess he had
Well,
nobody.
it's a learning thing.
Exactly, it was a
Yeah.
new thing.
Yeah.
But Kennedy was younger,
Yeah.
and he understood the medium a little bit better. So.
Right.
Wow.
So, and on the third debate that they had, they were actually separated by 3,000 miles. Kennedy was in New York and Nixon
did
was in
not know
California. And they were in different studios. And so it made it less awkward because they didn't have to have that fake handshake in the
Right.
Oh,
beginning.
yeah.
Right.
And then, like smiling at each other like, oh yeah, we really like each other. So it eliminated that.
I never knew that. That was
Yeah.
a different
Yeah.
studio.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so interesting.
So the next debate didn't happen for 16 years. 16 years later, before the general election, presidential debates face to face. That's the next one. Was a face to face one in, let's see this one. It was 1972.
Oh. that would be Nixon again.
Yeah.
No. It was 1976.
Oh, okay.
It was Gerald Ford
Oh.
and Jimmy Carter.
But wait, so Nixon didn't have a debate with when he second time around?
Well, no, there was no debate. During this interval, debates were held during the primaries.
Oh,
So in the Dems in 68 was RFK and Eugene McCarthy. And in 1972, the primaries, these only the Democrats, I guess the Republicans didn't do it, was George McGovern and Hubert Humphrey.
I remember that.
Yeah.
You remember the debate?
Well, no, I remember
No,
that
I remember
too.
Humphrey.
The two,
Okay.
And
Humphrey.
actually, I voted for George McGovern that
Yeah.
year. I was able to vote.
Was I able to vote yet? No.
Yeah.
No.
I think you had to be 18 at the time. I think they had just changed the voting age to 18. So 55, 65, 75. No, 73 you were 18.
Right.
So 1976 was the next general election presidential debate between Ford and Carter. And during it, the audio went out. And for 27 minutes it was out.
Oh.
So they just stood there. I should read this here. They talk about
That's
it.
awkward.
Yeah, right.
Did they know it was out?
They didn't at first.
Okay.
Okay. During one debate, the candidates stood silently for nearly half an hour, with just 9 minutes remaining in the first debate between President Gerald Ford and Democratic challenger Jimmy Carter on September 23rd, 1976. The audio suddenly failed. On ABC, anchor Harry Reasoner assured viewers the technical difficulties were not a conspiracy against Governor Carter or President Ford. For 27 minutes, as the nation watched and audio engineers scrambled, the two candidates appeared frozen in place as they stood stiffly in silence behind their podiums. And this is a quote from Ford. I suspect both of us would have liked to sit down and relax while the technicians were fixing the system, Ford recounted to PBS newsman Jim Lehrer. But I think both of us were hesitant to make any gesture that might look like we weren't physically or mentally able to handle a problem like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
Well,
so it's similar concerns, right?
Yeah.
If you're
Exactly,
physically fit,
yeah,
you know.
exactly, yeah.
See, glitches do
Uh-huh.
happen.
That poor, my heart goes out to that technician who was working. Imagine the pressure he had during that
I
time.
know,
So I
I know.
wonder what the TV stations did. I mean, now did every station?
I don't think so at that time.
Yeah.
I don't think so. And
Uh-huh.
even now, not every station does it. I
That's
was
true.
reading about that.
Yeah.
They don't do
They
it
don't do it.
because they have contracts, like with
Right.
baseball games and
Right.
Super
like
Bowl, right.
Yep, yeah. So okay, so in 1980, that's the second time because Carter became president.
Right.
He won when they did like 3 different debates too. In 1980, the debate, Carter refused to participate in the first debate because they had a third-party candidate.
Oh.
And he thought, no, it should just be the two of us. And
Just
it was with
the
Reagan.
two of us.
It was Reagan
Yeah,
and
that's
Carter.
Right.
So the second one was canceled. So because he wouldn't do it. So then they just canceled the second one. And 1 week before the election, Carter debated Reagan. And of course, Reagan won that term. And this is where his famous quotes came in. When his quote,
Him as in Reagan's or
Reagan's famous quotes.
Oh.
I have it here somewhere. You know, here we go. And plus, Reagan used to being in front
That's
of the
what
camera.
I was saying. I said there's
Yeah.
an advantage there.
He was used to being in front of the camera, and Jimmy Carter was his peanut
not.
farmer.
He was from
you know.
farming.
Yeah. So
I think that was a bad move on his campaign people to have him do the debates with a movie star.
What else are you gonna do if they're gonna be the president?
Yeah.
You don't have to. Apparently, he didn't have to debate.
Yeah.
He went all this
That-
time without
That
it.
probably would
yeah.
have
Yeah.
that would have hurt him too.
So anyway, in 1980, President Carter believed 3 was a crowd and refused to participate in any debate that included both Republican nominee Ronald Reagan and independent candidate John Anderson. I don't even remember him at all. So the incumbent was missing when his two opponents took to the stage. As the wrangling continued, the vice presidential debate and the second scheduled presidential debate were canceled. Finally, just a week before Election Day, Carter had a one-on-one debate with his Republican rival in which Reagan uttered two phrases that quickly entered the political lexicon. Do you know the one really famous one?
Well, I only remember the one about Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Oh, no.
But this is...
one of them was, there you go again, he used to say. The really famous one is, are you better off
now
than you were 4 years ago?
Right, yeah, that's...
Reagan, that was his,
right.
big thing, so.
Yeah.
So, all right, and then in 1984, there was one between Reagan and Mondale. So, involved in third-party Gansgate. Okay, so I'll just tell you about the League of Women Voters, because they used to organize these. They're the ones that did it from the beginning. And the League of Women Voters, they ran the debates in 1976, 1980, and 1984. They withdrew because this is their words. Because the demands of the campaigns organizations would perpetrate a fraud on the American voter. It has become clear to us that the candidates' organizations aim debates to their list of campaign trail charades, devoid of substance, spontaneity, and answers to tough questions. The League has no intention of becoming an accessory to the hoodwinking of the American public. So they pulled out because the campaigns presented their debate agreement 2 weeks before the scheduled debate. This is in 1987. And it was negotiated behind closed doors without the League of Women Voters. It was 16 pages. Yep. 16 pages of conditions that were non-negotiable. Most objectionable to the League was the conditions that gave campaigns unprecedented control over the proceedings. Control of questioners, composition of the audience, hall access for the press, and others. The two major parties assumed control of organizing debates through the Commission on Presidential Debates, headed by former chairs of the RNC and the DNC. So, that's why when you watch these debates, you don't get any answers.
No,
you really don't. And nobody ever gets pressed. Like, if they don't answer the question, very rarely will the moderator press for it.
Yeah. Right.
So, like, they each get 2 minutes. There's a coin toss.
Right.
And that's the coin toss determines who gets the first question. And then a coin toss for who gets to, at the end, their closing statements goes first. And that's all done with a coin toss.
Do you watch the debates, or will you?
I do watch them, and I do watch them, but they're so infuriating because of that. I always say, God, I wish I was there. And then they have these audiences that like that favor one candidate, and people applaud and they're not supposed to.
And some of the questions they ask are just so like, really? That's what you're asking?
I know.
And now it makes sense that they
exactly. So
how about you? Are you gonna watch it?
Am I going to watch?
Yeah.
Well, I heard that they're going to turn the microphone off after they're done. 2 minutes, they turn off the. Hey, I'm dog sitting, so this is a dog. Oh, here's Savannah barking.
Yeah.
So
Savannah,
I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, I heard that.
I think they want to. I don't know if they're really going to do it.
I hope so.
I was just thinking, I said, imagine the microphones went off. Could you imagine these particular two candidates staying quiet for 27 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But still, I can't picture that.
Yeah. It's going to infuriate me, but yes, I'm going to. I'm going to watch it.
I think, we usually
because
watch.
he's just going to talk about revenge He doesn't really have an agenda as far as policies go. It's going to be deport everybody, get revenge. He just said it today or yesterday that he's going to prosecute all of his enemies. All of his opponents, he called them. Not even enemies. I'm going to prosecute my opponents. That's what dictators say.
Well, I can't comment. So, but what I'm going to pivot to is on debates in general. Like I feel like there's a little more leeway in the party debates. Like when I did watch the Republican candidates debate, there wasn't a Democrat one because we knew who the Democrat was going to be.
Yeah.
But because I think you get a little more answers sometimes in those, maybe because they might not have a strong campaign, you know, or as other people are, and you get.
Are you talking about the primaries?
No,
oh,
when they were deciding to get, like, remember when it was like Nikki Haley and it was Ramaswamy and I was even thinking to last year when we had Chris Christie up there, you know, because you look at some of these people, it's a good. I don't know if many people do watch as much as they do the big debate, but it's a. I think a lot of people are auditioning for the vice president role or the secretary of state role. So it's good to know.
Because the only one who spoke out against Trump was Chris Christie.
This year, I believe. So
everybody else,
it's good to know
who would vote for him, even though they all said he was unfit. They all raised their hand except for Christie.
And then the Democratic one, I remember when it was in 2016, they did have a debate because it was Clinton, it was Elizabeth Warren.
It was Bernie Sanders.
And I watched, and you do get, I find those debates more interesting, more substantive than the pitting the Republican against the Democrat one, because probably for these rules. That's what I think.
I know. It's really a shame they should let the League of Women Voters or some other.
They should let the women run the world. Like they did in Mexico. Mexico's got a woman president now.
I know.
We still don't have one, and we're not going to have one this year.
No.
Because there's not even a candidate.
No, exactly.
It's ridiculous.
The only way that's going to happen is if Joe Biden gets elected and he dies in office.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the only way it'll happen.
Well, thank you, Peggy.
That was very interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we hope. I'm sorry that we did well up to a point, and then I'm dog sitting, so it's
little
crazy.
Bo and Sophie. Very cute.
Yeah, and they were triggered by Savannah from upstairs. Anyway, thank you so much.
See you next
so that
time.
was number 79.
Go smell some wildflowers.
Yep, exactly.
I have them growing already.
Bye.
Bye.